Well, good morning. This is Grandpa Jim from Grandpa Jim's Gardening Tips. And this morning, we're going to be planting several different kinds of, let's say, greens and also some of the different kinds of cabbage, different kind of cabbage family. So this morning, we want you to be able to grow the most healthy, good for you, good nutrition, but easy to grow and fairly economical different types of plants you can grow. So what we have here is we are going to be growing a red cabbage here from Baker Creek. It is a smaller head. We like to eat a lot of our cabbage fresh. Now, my wife likes to cook with cabbage. I like it fresh. And this is just a small cone-shaped head that you can chop it off and make a little bit of coleslaw or eat it in a salad or however you would like to use that. In addition to that, we are going to be growing kale, my wife's main crop that she grows for health. And we're going to be growing this type, Siberian dwarf, and it's a real curly leaf, grows fantastic. We're going to be growing dwarf Siberian, and we got that from Baker Creek, and I might add that when we bought that from our seeds from Baker Creek, they sent us that pre-packed. Here's one that's a real powerhouse, scarlet kale. It's red. They're hardy, they can take cold, they can take just about heat, they can take just about anything. Then we're also, my wife Susan wanted to try something a little different, and we're going to be trying Chinese broccoli, yu fa. And it's more of a sprouting broccoli. You know, when you go to the store and when you buy your broccoli, it's usually in a big head. Well, these shoot up different sprouts, and you just cut them off little tiny heads, and they keep coming and coming and coming until the heat gets to them. If you keep cutting them before they go to flower, you can keep them going for quite a while. And then finally, the last one we're going to do is tatsoi, and it is a Chinese relative to the cabbage family, but it is a powerhouse full of good nutrition. So anyway, what we're going to be doing, let's go ahead this morning and let's plant our cabbage. Again, this is from Baker Creek. Now, cabbage is easy to plant, easy to grow, and what we do, and here's the fun thing about cabbage seed. If you look at the cabbage, there's one thing about the cabbage family, they germinate fast. No kidding, you could plant these today and in 3 days you have plants coming up. But it could take up to a week, week and a half, even 2 weeks, but generally they pop up right away. So they're really kind of fun. So what I do is I try to sow them very thinly. Here I've got like 4 of them, and I'm going to put them in here. And we're going to grow a lot of cabbage this year, so we're going to just at this point, I'll be planting more later, but I'm also going to, we'll just show you how we do it with this. Again, I use this little tool, and you can find them on Amazon. Look under seed planting, and they're very handy, or you can use a spoon if that works better for you. So now we planted there our red cabbage, and we'll put the rest of these away. There we go. And then we just take our finger and just tap them down. Now, cabbage is something that you really need to start outside. If you plant cabbage as seed outside, it's really hard for it to get going. Not to mention, it just may not make it in time.
So you want to start it inside.
So we start this inside. And when we plant these inside, I use grow lights. Again, I have a section or have a video on grow lights, how you can do it economically. You don't need $100 grow lights and all this and that. You can simply use fluorescent tubes. So check out that video where we have Grandpa Jim's Garden Tips. So we put a few seeds in each one of these. We've wet them down. Again, as in case of a lot of smaller seeds, you don't have to cover them heavily. Usually they say cover them with about a third or 2/3 of the size of the seed. These aren't as picky, but you don't want to put them an inch deep or they'll never come up. So here we go. We cover them with the same potting mix that we have here. Then I've already watered them down, just sprayed a little water just to give them a little extra boost. And then I'll water this down, make it nice and moist. And then when we're finished planting all of our cabbage or any of our cabbage family in our flat, you can buy plastic lids that fit on these, clear plastic, or you can even use any kind of plastic wrap or something like that. The key is once things start coming up, then once they're up, take the covers off. Because a lot of times if you don't, it will get some kind of a fungal type of disease and might hurt your plant. So wait till they come up, get up maybe a couple inches or an inch, no more than an inch if that, and then take that off. So anyway, that's the one thing that we're going to be planting along with all the kales. For your information, broccoli, kale, cabbage, any of those types of cabbage family, they all are planted and handled the same. Now, I will tell you this, these are good for you. These are very, very, very healthy. I like a lot of my vegetables raw. I like raw, to put my broccoli in salads, things like that. But there's many different ways you can prepare them. So, anyway, that shows you how we can plant anything that's in the cabbage family. And then, I want to share with you just a little bit here. Some are old favorites, some are new, and a lot of them you'll say, what on earth are you doing planting that? And some of the greens that are out there that we are growing are super high in nutrition because a lot of different of the greens have deep roots and they pull up minerals and nutrients and they're very good for you. So I know some of you are probably familiar with arugula. We're going to be planting it, and that will be planted. We're going to experiment this year and try some inside in flats, and then some of this we will sow outside as well. The one thing with arugula, plant it early because it gets warm, it goes to seed right now. You can also plant it in September and have greens for several more months if you want to do that. Give you a little extra, stretch it out. We're also growing orish. It's in the spinach family. Doesn't go to seed like spinach as fast. It's different colors and full of iron and different types of really good nutrients in it. Now here's the last two. You're going to think I'm nuts, but these are specially been grown and selected to be more for the garden. You remember if you have in your garden, which we have lots of it, this little plant that grows low on the ground. If you do house plants, you say, well, it looks like a miniature jade plant that crawls along the ground. Well, that's purslane. Now, why would I on earth plant purslane when it's all over everywhere in our yard? Well, one, you can't eat that out of your yard if it hasn't been sprayed, if it hasn't had issues with dogs or whatever going around, then you can eat that. It is so high in omega fats, the healthy kind, that it is better for you than many of the things that they tell you, fish oil and things like that. You can get it natural right here. It has kind of an earthy type of taste. It's crunchy, it's juicy, and this type is a bigger leaf. As you can see, that's why it's for the garden. And you can cut them and put them in your garden, and you will put them in salads. Some people saute them, even put them in soups. Finally, the one you really going to think I'm nuts is an Italian dandelion. You go, wait a minute, we're trying to get all those out of our yard. And by the way, I might tell you, I encourage you not to take them out of your yard because that is some of the earliest flowers that bees feed on. And those even in your yard are edible. But these are grown to be a little bit sweeter, a little bit juicier, a little bit thicker. Obviously, keep them in a row where you can keep an eye on them. I would even really recommend growing them in a pot so you don't have to worry about the roots not getting all the roots, because if you cut a dandelion root, if there's any of it left in the ground, it's going to come back up. So I would grow these in a planter box or in buckets or something like that. So again, high in iron, high in all kinds of nutrients, vitamin C. These are powerhouses. I really recommend that you grow. This is just a few of the greens you can grow. There is an amazing assortment. So I would really encourage you, if you haven't bought your seeds yet, or you have, but you go, gosh, I would like to grow some of those, go to Baker Creek Seed. Is a great place. They're non-GMO, they are organic, they are really just a wonderful seed company to buy from. And there's many, many others, but they have such a beautiful catalog. I really encourage you, if you do nothing else, get it to look at it, and I'm sure you're going to want to order from it then. So anyway, that's what we're doing. Right now it's March 15th here in Central Ohio. If you don't know where and we know our last frost is May 15th, these plants will take some cold. They won't take a super hard freeze when they're young, but we will probably put these out sometime in early April once they're up and growing, no later than mid-April. If you get a bad freeze or frost coming, you can cover them. But if if you want to know, when do I plant it if I live in Tennessee or if I live in California or wherever, go on Google, look up the zone map for your zone, and it will tell you what zone you are in. And then the zone you are in, you can look, and there'll be a chart that will tell you, okay, if you're in zone this, your earliest frost is this, or latest frost, or your earliest frost, or your latest freeze, or earliest freeze in the fall. So that way you know when to kind of adjust. This is what we do here in Central Ohio. Big part of the United States, you would use basically the same as what we use, the same zone. So again, this is Grandpa Jim. I encourage you to grow your garden, get healthy, grow your own. If you haven't gardened before, it's not rocket science. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I really encourage you to do that. When you grow your own, you know where the seed came from, you know how it was grown, what it was grown in, and what was put on it. When you buy at the store, you have no idea. So it's this way, it's safe, and it's healthy. So we will be doing more videos here that we're really ramping up right now. It's that time of year that we start picking things up. It'll be no time at all. We'll be planting other plants, tomatoes, my favorite heirloom tomatoes. So experiment, enjoy, grow your old favorites, but if you see something, you go, I'd like to try that, do it. That's the fun part, is experimenting. So this is Grandpa Jim, and if you have any questions, by all means, I welcome you to send you your questions, or if you have comments. If I don't know the answer, I will find the answer for you. And so we're just going to wish you happy gardening and stay healthy.